to the Ghosted Wine podcast, and this is limited series Toy Stories. Me and Maggie finally in person. I mean, hey girl, I've seen you for a week now.
I know. We're in Portugal right now, and we're having an amazing time. Catch the sunset edition. So we thought we'd dress up for you guys because we love you.
Yes, and today is going to be very interesting topic. Maggie, would you like to introduce it?
Okay, so to begin with, we're going to be talking about how do you use a sex toy when you're by yourself. So this is like a really important thing. We were talking about self-care last time and, implementing pleasuring yourself into your self-care routine. So we're just going to be talking through some scenarios today about how you can go about using your sex toy, in which how you can kind of set up the mood and just get yourself, feeling great.
Yeah, and afterwards we'll just cover how to introduce it to your partner. If you want to use it, and the spicy part of it, how to use it in public places, aka outside your bedroom or house, whatever you prefer.
Right.
So let's start with the most important thing. If you're new to the channel, subscribe with notification buttons. We also have a donations now. If you like to support us, we really, really appreciate it. And thumbs up are always a plus. Okay, now let's move on to the part of self-love, and how would you describe like maybe your favorite routine, on how you maybe first implemented your first sex toy, or how you would love to, like the ideal version when you have like, you have time. We're not talking no quickies this time. Inside of the house, it's only nice and pleasure, self-love, self-orgasm time.
Okay, so for me, I think I mentioned this to you guys last time. I love my baths. I'm a bath girl. So I know not everybody has a bath. A lot of houses just have showers. But if you are lucky enough to have a bathtub in your crib, then this is one of my favorite routines. So I always make a very extravagant bath. So, not like when you're a kid and you just put soap in there. No, we're going to do it bougie. So I like to use essential oils. Me and I actually both use essential oils. We both have diffusers, so we use those at nighttime. So I sometimes like to bring mine into the bathroom, put some essential oils inside, get a nice aroma, because remember, there's so many things that can provide pleasure. It's not just in terms of like touch, but think about all of your other senses. What you see, what you smell, what you hear can all provide a nice ambiance. So yeah, for me, I like to start off by setting the mood. So I have my Feels playlist. It's mostly Sade and, some Mariah Carey, some Beyonce, whatever sexy music gets you in the mood, nice slow vibe. So I bring my speaker into the bathroom, I put on my Feels playlist, and then I like to put some essential oils in the bath water just to make it really like aromatic. So you're smelling it, smells delicious. And then I use my good shower gels, not your Poundland shitty stuff. Like I use my Liz L L'Occitane, exactly, expensive bitches. So yeah, I put my good shower gels in there. I like to make lots of bubbles. Sometimes when I'm being really extra, I actually use a balloon whisk. So, get it from the kitchen. If you whisk the bath, then the bubbles come out really nice and big. Something my mom taught me. Thanks, Mom. So yeah, I like to whisk the bath and put the essential oils in, put the shampoos in, so everything's smelling great. You've got your music. And of course, most importantly, you guys know that I'm a gin and tonic girl. I love my gin and tonic cocktails.
I thought you were going to say sex toy. I was like...
Well, and of course, sex toys, duh. But, I love my gin and tonics as much as my sex toys. So I always make myself a drink, because how we all feel, especially as women, like when you go out, you have a few drinks, you start to feel sexy. So I feel like it's the same even when you're by yourself. A lot of people don't really think about, drinking if you're just home alone. But why not? Because you'd drink if you were on a date.
Yeah, and 2020 taught us basically that drinking at home alone at like noon is totally fine.
Right,
so
exactly. Right.
I love it. Yeah.
So yeah, I normally make like a big jug of glass, depends how alcoholic I'm feeling. But yeah, I'll make a jug of like my little gin cocktail and try to think about some aphrodisiac fruits and things to, get yourself in the mood. So I always cut up some strawberries, and I always put in passion fruit, because passion fruit is like my ultimate aphrodisiac. It just makes me feel very sexy and great. So I put lots of passion fruit in there, mint, all things that you can really smell and get the senses going. So yeah, once I have all of those things, then I get my waterproof, not the Durex Bullet, the waterproof
and no
sex
batteries,
toy.
please, no batteries.
Yes, no batteries. This
And
is when you use your
very,
good sex toy. So use your nice, like semi-expensive, decent, waterproof sex toy. Bring it into the bath with you, and then yeah, just start to get yourself in a mood. You don't have to go straight in with it. If you've taken so much time to set the mood, set up, the vibe, you can just take some time to enjoy yourself. So I like, close my eyes. I like to maybe
like
start by
touch.
giving myself a neck massage,
Yeah.
massage my head, just rub my legs, like enjoy the water and everything like that. And then obviously once the mood strikes, it strikes. And yeah, think about scented candles as well. That's another thing. If you don't have a diffuser or essential oils, you can also incorporate some candles. It depends whether you're doing it at daytime or night, but candles are always a good shout.
What would you say about essential oils though? Because I usually, when I set my bath, I put some, I'm being also extra at this point, rose petals, I'm like, yes.
Nice.
Yeah, because it also gives like very nice relaxation note, I would say. And this is why alcohol is also good, because it's kind of relaxing you, muscles, and then the bath and everything. But I don't bring like diffuser precisely to the bath. I put just oil in the bath, in the water. So what would you recommend for like this mood, like relaxation oils? Like, because I usually use like lavender and maybe a little bit eucalyptus, which is like my favorite one, ultimate. So what would you think would be nice? Because I don't feel like orange, for instance, would be like, it's kind of more energetic.
Yeah, exactly.
But like for setting like the mood, what do you think would be the perfect one?
Well, I think if you guys have like oil blends, then that sometimes makes it easier, because I think they have some which are called like romance or relaxation. I personally don't really like oil blends because I'm suspicious and I feel like sometimes they're not 100% pure. So I have like pure essential oils and I just make my own blends. So I also love lavender. Of course, lavender is another aphrodisiac. It also relaxes you, and it's great if you're doing this at nighttime. So you get your self-care in, get a few orgasms in, and then you're going to sleep amazingly. So I always put lavender. And then I actually really like to put cajaput. It's I don't really know what kind of where it comes from, but it's just this oil that I was recommended when I was in Sri Lanka, and they just said that it's just really good for the bath specifically to kind of like relax the muscles.
I swear, like, that part of the world, like India, China, they do know their herbs so well.
Very well.
So usually like whatever like you feel like. I also like do like those mixed ones because it's easier. However, I don't own any, but I've seen them online, but usually cost like quite more, way more expensive. It's like 50 like euros slash pounds, like plus minus, for just like a little teeny tiny bottle. It was serving like for 3 months or something, like, but it's still like, sometimes it's way too expensive, especially like with my bougie ass, when you spend $160 for a toy.
Yeah,
essential oils come second, and it's just like, yeah, I don't need that oil. I have my baby toy.
Right.
But yeah, that sounds so good. I'm already kind of like, I want to take a bath.
Right, exactly.
But definitely, let's touch the playlist that you suggested below in the link.
Okay, yeah, guys, it's a public playlist. Whoever's on YouTube, I'll get Aya to attach it. My Feels playlist. So I got you covered, girls. And yes, lavender, and don't forget also mint is amazing. If you have a mint essential oil, that's one of my favorites. Eucalyptus is also great, but sometimes it can provide a bit too much of a burn. So I don't always like to use it when my vagina is concerned, just in case like irritation. But another really, really good mix, surprisingly, with lavender is cinnamon. So cinnamon's another one that's kind of like really makes you feel sexy because it's got that heat, but it's not as harsh as eucalyptus. So yeah, I normally blend lavender, cinnamon, and mint, and those three together are like mwah. And of course cajaput. So yes, that's my go-to. What about you, Aya? What do you do?
Well, as you mentioned before, that not everybody has bath. And luckily at my new apartment I do have one, but before I did not, and it was kind of like, as much as I do invest a lot in my shower handle, just so you know, but it also was like kind of, we all like baths, like just to chill, relax. Even though for 20 minutes, it just gives you some very satisfying relaxation note. However, I usually, if I don't have a bath or I'm just not in the mood, like let's say it's afternoon, I'm just like, I don't need to take a bath because I have shit to do in the evening.
Right.
Then I'm just like getting myself in the mood. The most importantly, I just turn off my phone. Close all like emails, everything that could distract me. I go to choose my favorite porn, and then usually it's not just like one video or like maybe like five. So like those like first three, I would say, like getting me in the mood, because I'm just like, very slow and meticulous with like, oh, watch it. I'm like paying attention to all the details, or like reading erotica is also helps. Even simple like 50 Shades of Grey will do you great and wet. So yeah, it depends on what you prefer, and then yeah, basically just very chill, but very precise on timing. That okay, I'm gonna do this because I'm feeling like it, but I don't feel like doing it like quickie. And then once you set yourself in the mood, I feel for females especially, when you go, it just in terms of like quickie, just okay, I'm done, boom, and go. However, with even without bath or like just on the sofa, or I like to do it like in the like common area, like living room or like kitchen, like dining tables, like with my legs spread all the way up, just switch it up a little bit. Yeah, it just gives you some spice, I would say.
Especially if you have flatmates. Interesting picture to walk in on. Aya, what are you doing?
I'm very never happened. So
well, yeah, guys, if you live in shared accommodation, just be very conscious of your like comings in and outs of your flatmates. They might not want to see your vagina splayed on a kitchen table. They might want to, but they might not. So
I mean, it's pretty, so I'm not ashamed. I'm very proud of my vagina. So anyways, yeah, but like basically I would do definitely like slow motion, but without the bath. I would just say mine is bath, but I would take my time to get myself in the mood with different equipment. And also like touch, even with the toy, if it's vibrating, play around nipples, on the skin, it's also like very helpful.
On the neck, it's also very nice.
Yes. And the last but not least, I would say, I forgot what I was so in the mood, like already picturing everything. And anyway, and most importantly, as I was leading towards basic finale, I would say, for me personally, like when I come once and I'm like because I already put like 20-30 minutes into getting myself into the mood, right? And then it kind of helps me increase the amount of orgasms that I can catch within like one session. That's why I precisely like point out that this is not a quickie. Because then you get more pleasure, and then by the time, I don't know, third, fifth orgasm, you came and you just like kind of had very good night, day, whatever you do it. So yeah, I like it. And then you feel kind of like also like very released. It depends on the day of the time of the day. If you do it in the morning, kind of sets the energy for me. If I do it in the mood as well, very importantly, because hormones are like all the way up. The most important thing is to keep them going that way, like chocolate, whatever brings you joy. And in the evening, it also kind of relaxes you, and you just like, oh, I came like 10 times. I'm ready to go to sleep.
Exactly.
So I think that's the best one. And then the skin is glowing. I mean, obviously, that's the best thing to do for your skin routine.
Yeah, and that's another thing, guys. So if I'm going to be doing it at night, and I'm doing my kind of bath system, you can also kind of combine it with your general self-care routine. So I often like put on a face mask because it's also nice. It feels like you're in a spa. Even if you're at home, you don't have money for a spa. Oh well, home spa. So you can put on like I have this gorgeous like mung bean mud mask, which is one of my favorites ever because it just smells so good. So again, it's got that kind of chocolatey smell and it's like aphrodisiac. So I love putting that on my face, and it's one of those ones that goes really hard like clay, and then you kind of just like scrape it off after. It's very satisfying when it kind of tightens around your face. So yeah, like I always put on like a mask, cleanse my face, like you can even put on some cucumbers if you want. So you can definitely make it like a kind of half spa day, half orgasm day, because why not do the two? Women are amazing at multitasking. So
exactly, it's hot girl summer, and self-care is always the best self-love, and love in general. And definitely, like you said, tighten the face, tighten the pussy during the orgasm.
Right.
We keep it tight.
Yes.
Very tight.
Snatch.
Okay. On to the topic number 2 is how to actually implement the sex toy into your relationship, or like first like stage of dating with a partner in general. So what would be your suggestions precisely? Because we already discussed that a lot of males and just in general, like people in a relationship could be quite insecure about bringing the toys, and they would see it as a competition, which is not. But how would you like start with like your like first move and you're not sure, you're not, for instance, like together with a person for that long, or you have never had this kind of experience and your sex kind of getting dull, how would you try to navigate to that area of
Definitely a good question, because I have had experiences kind of up and down in terms of like positive or negative reception to me wanting to incorporate toys. But I find one technique which I think has been really successful, which is something that I try to do now, is kind of incorporate it into foreplay. So it obviously depends on what kind of relationship you have, whether you guys are living together, or if it's like a virtual relationship, because lockdown, a lot of us have been quarantining and doing the whole long distance thing. But one thing that I kind of like to do is, if you are kind of having like video sex with the person, and you're kind of like, I don't know if you use Skype or like Instagram or WhatsApp Messenger, whatever, but you're on a video and you guys are kind of getting each other in the mood. And then I think it's actually nice to let the other person see me pleasuring myself with the toy, because I think it's just that initial fear of like, oh my God, how do I navigate myself in conjunction with the toy? I think a lot of people, the reason why they feel insecure with the toy is because they don't know how they can use the toy on you and then still incorporate their own movements and their own body at the same time. It's a lot of coordination that needs to be done. So I kind of just like to let the person see how much pleasure I get from using a toy, and also, more importantly, technique wise, how I use a toy. Because I think when it comes to when it comes to men, I think a lot of the reason why some of them are insecure is because like they just don't know how to use it on you, because I mean, they're not chicks, they don't have clits that they put their toys on or whatever. So and a lot of them maybe don't use toys themselves. So I think for them, it's kind of just like daunting, like, oh, I don't know what to do with this. Like, where do I put it? How do I use it? Whereas with their hands or with other parts of their body, they might be more confident. So that's always a great way, because, you're on a video, it's hot for them. It's almost like them watching a porn. So it's a nice kind of way to spice up foreplay. And at the same time, it's like a teaching moment, because you're kind of like, this is how I'm doing it. Take notes, and then when we're together, this is what you're going to do. So then, it kind of makes the association in their mind a positive one instantly, because, they're getting off to watching you. So it's something that they like. And then by the time you come around to like being together in person and being like, oh, do you want to try this? They might even suggest it off the bat. Or if you're the one who's kind of just like, oh, remember my friend? It can be like a cute way of, reintroducing that without it being like oh my God, she's using a sex toy.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be psychologically way easier to like, oh, like, as you said, like memory wise, oh, I saw her like doing this. Like, it was so like beautiful how she came. And like, let me do it. And like, guys always like obsessed with like double penetration, double pleasure. So just do it then. Just give us that. Not everyone is into like double penetration, but like bullet for clit and dick and a vagina could do the magic. And she would be like, I love you, you're the best I ever had. And you want that, trust me. It's amazing how it feels, and also gives very, I would say, emancipation within women that, okay, I can get as much pleasure as I want with one partner, which is also great. And I think it's just a win-win.
Right. And also in non-hetero relationships, if you have like, a female to female relationship, it's also like, the same in terms of introducing it. Because, I know a lot of women who just feel more confident, using their bodies, and because of the fact that they don't personally use sex toys, they might also not feel confident, like knowing how to use a sex toy on another woman. So it's not just men that might have that fear. So, the same technique is applicable in like female-female relationships. And I think it's nice because, especially when, you're having, for example, lesbian sex, like it's just adding another dimension to the things that you can do. So I think it works both ways, and it's nice. And then it shows the person, okay, this is what she likes. So it also means you're more likely to have an orgasm, because you've essentially shown that person how to make you come, because you made yourself come and they've watched you. So theoretically, if they're a good student, then they should be able to apply the same techniques. And it's just, that kind of weight off your mind, like, okay, they're not going to do something weird, or it's not going to be awkward. So yeah, that would be my personal top tip. Feel free to keep it. What about you?
Honestly, we talked with Corey before, and like in general about sex toys, about communication so much. And a lot of people feel awkward, just like, there's like, they've been in a partnership or like relationship for quite some time, and just like, okay, we're going to use sex toy tonight. That's not how it works. But a lot of people like feel kind of, shameful to even like suggest that and don't know the way. So I think one of the best things to even begin with to implement it was, is sexting. Literally just pinch the idea that, oh, I would love, or I had a dream. That's, ladies, that's just there. I had a dream means like, I've been thinking about you. You've been not texting me in a while. So, bitch, keep up. Yeah. And just describe literally how you see a fantasy with the toy in progress within you two. Like, literally be very precise to the point where I want you to use this on me, blah 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 blah. And then once you get a very like positive response, because it's kind of a turn on. And also start with like small toys, don't suggest to beg him right away. I think just go slow if you're into it. Yeah. And then if everything goes well with sexting, you can increase it. Then you can just like, also I think very good point where you two guys shop for the toy and you just like you choose it together. It's also very like bonding moment.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
yeah, especially like if you live together, it's very nice. And afterwards I do feel it's very important to communicate after you used it, to like understand what was the feelings for both of people. Because again, as Maggie said, you can have a sex toy but you have no fucking idea how to use it on female's body or anybody. And there could be, not gonna try it again. So just go, basically step by step, what was great and what would you like to improve. Like, don't say it was like horrible, just what you need to improve. That's also nice. And if person is a good student, they'll do their homework the next time.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's actually such a good point about the fantasy. I like that idea because I think that definitely like intensifies the foreplay. And I think that's just a good tip in general when it comes to any kind of sexual relations and sexual communication. Like, it's great to discuss your fantasies, because I feel like, especially with women, we have this tendency to like discuss our fantasies with other women and our girlfriends and be like, oh girl, I had this dream and XYZ happened. But then when it comes to our partners, particularly if they're male partners, like, we do not share as much. So we kind of, keep them guessing in the dark, or we just expect that they should know our bodies well enough to just know what we want and know what to do.
Which is really unfair, because men have to like want to live their porn fantasy, right? Meaning that it's only how this should happen, where females actually have a lot of fantasies sex-wise. They're just like too shy or too afraid, whatever you feel like, to share. Right. And trust me, the bitch can take you on a roller coaster with the fantasies. Like,
right.
Girls are wild.
And even guys, like, it's great to encourage male partners to share their fantasies, because that's another thing. Like, guys really don't share when it comes to these kinds of things, like maybe with their bros, but when it comes to other females, like, they're not going to divulge, or if they do, it's going to be like very like brushstroke. They're not going to go into the details like we do, where they kind of give you a play-by-play. So I think encouraging that kind of communication as a form of foreplay, where you're like messaging each other, almost like you're writing like a erotica or like sex story together. So like, even just texting questions like, and then what happens? Like, what am I wearing? Like, what do I smell like? Just really try to get them to paint a picture for you.
However, that's what I've been noticing from guys. When someone in the mood for sexting, they always like ask the questions, but they never participate, which kind of kills the vibe. It's like, it is my fantasy, but like, can you participate of what you're gonna do?
Right, add to it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Add to it, because otherwise it's just like, and what next? And you just like,
feels like a monologue.
Yeah, you're like describing, I don't know, 3 fucking paragraphs of how you want him to take you, and then you're just like, oh yeah.
Yeah, can you add more? Exactly. I think this is
or like
sounds
sexy. I know, but then they always do, because I'm a writer, and they're just like, oh, but you're a good writer. I was like,
you could be a good writer if you tried it.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly.
You don't have to like put, I don't know, extra like, magical sentence word
use
order.
Metaphors.
Just use simple words. It will do. Just describe basically as porn fantasy. This is why porn now is kind of divided into like more feminine, more erotica, into like brassers, like bang, 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 bang. So just either way is great. It's still fantasy. It's still good.
Right.
Yeah, and just communicate afterwards. Yeah, also fantasy wise, like if you're willing to do, or play around.
Nice. Where can you use a sex toy, obviously, other than the privacy of your own home or room?
Yeah.
And how would you go about preparing to do that? So this is a very important one because I feel like, yeah, this is a topic that we have some experience in, not to brag, but we had our fair share of public outings with sex toys. So we're going to give you the scoop.
I mean, it's always fun though.
Exactly.
Do you remember the first time that happened to you when like someone suggested for you to, as a fantasy again, to do it, or like were you like the one who actually suggested that?
I find in my experiences, I'm always the one, but probably because it's always on my mind. So I get there before the other person can even think it into existence. So fair enough.
Maybe it's too early. No, now.
Right now. We just met. Now. So yeah, but I think one of the first times that I did this was actually in China, because all great things happen in China. Thank you, China, for so many great experiences. But yeah, so it was when I got a Swacom bullet. I don't actually remember the name of the sex toy, but we can research it and then add it. But anyway, it's like this little lipstick one. It's like about this size. So it was similar size to the Durex bullet that I showed you guys in the last episode. And yeah, like I just thought, we were kind of talking amongst friends, and I remember saying like, this is so portable because it's so micro mini that even if you have like the tiniest little handbag, like it could still fit in. And I was just like, this gives me an idea. So I remember like it was a group of girls of us, and we were like all going out. And we were going out to ladies' night, classic Wednesday, Cocoa Park, it's how we spend most of our weeks. And yeah, it was just nice. And I just suddenly had this idea that I was just like, it's kind of cute that this toy can fit into my bag with all essentials, sex toy, lipstick, keys, phone, card, done. So yeah, I kind of just like put it in there, and I was just like, ooh, I'm going out. It would be interesting to use this in public. So I called a taxi, and then I was thinking about starting using it in a taxi, but then this is where we get onto the point of discretion, which we're going to talk about in more detail in a minute, because the only thing that did put me off is the fact that I was like, it was kind of a noisy toy. And I think even though there was music playing in a taxi, you would still hear like over the music, and it would be kind of weird. And then that could obviously create a dangerous situation. Like you don't want to be doing that in front of like a stranger.
Yeah. Unless that puts you off. Gets you off.
Yeah.
Then yeah, why not? I think this is one of the key points. Before you even go on public, you should like definitely test it out, the toy. First of all, like what kind of toy you want to play with, and the discretion point, which is one of the most important ones, because you want to be out there playing, but that's more like a play again where you and your partner just know, or your girlfriend's like either way, just like, naughty,
exactly.
Naughty. So those are like basic I would say rules to even begin with.
Right. Exactly.
So what are the sex toys that you can use outside with? Bullet. Then butt plug.
Right. I guess you could use as a guy like a vibrating ring.
Vibrating ring. Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah, that would be a good
one. And very much pleasure-wise and exercising, Kegel muscle.
The Kegel beads.
Yeah. And that would be probably. And that would be probably the most discreet like toys that you can use. Oh, vibrating panties. I think after we saw again that movie, Something True. When she was in the restaurant with a work meeting and she had like vibrating panties on, and she literally came in the middle of the like talking with the bosses. That was like very hot. I think a lot of people started to Google how do I buy vibrating panties, because I think that was the most that people showed sex toys in the use like in public in the movie. Like that was very quite popular. Right. As well, like good actress and actors, whatever the names are. Well, they were like famous and popular, so I think that's also really good point.
And smart toys, so they're like one of my favorite go-tos as well. Like at the time that I was actually in a relationship, these were more of a go-to. It's not as fun when it's just you, because you're kind of aware of what's happening. And I think the benefit of I guess you guys, if you're wondering, why would you even want to do it in public? It's just kind of that thrill. It's that spice. It's like what I was saying. It's nice when a select group of people are in a know, but other people are oblivious. It adds to the thrill. You're getting off in like a very private and intimate way, and no one else is aware except whoever you want to know. There's something about just the concept of that that's like very sexually arousing. So yeah, that is, I think, why most people would want to do it. It's kind of the same as exhibitionism. Why do people want to fuck in public?
Yep.
For that exact reason. It's the thrill of getting caught, but I feel like there's nuance to it. I mean, obviously speaking for myself, because each to their own, but I personally feel that it's when you're on the verge of potentially getting caught, but you finesse it enough to not get caught. That's like the nuance that you want to balance. You don't just want to be out here for the world to see. You kind of, want to do it in a way where it's like discreet. That's why we're talking about discretion. Yeah, set limits and, be reasonable.
Because
if
you're in
just,
charge,
Yeah, exactly. If you're just out on the public metro, your leg splayed of a toy, I mean, that might get you off, but it's kind of just like, I think it's fun to do it when like nobody knows.
You might just end up in prison or something.
That too. I forgot there's actually laws against public indecency. Yeah. Don't do that, guys.
But anyways, talking about discretion, also, if we're talking about bullet precisely, right, or vibrating panties, there's also little vibrators that do not shape like bullets. They shape more like a part of your panties. So you basically put it in your underwear, which is also vibrating, but it's not like anything like shape wise in a like circle or whatever. And you just put it in the panties. So those, you might want to test it before you go outside, to the point where you do not, as Maggie said in the cab, do not let sexy driver hear the bzz, 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 bzz.
Right, just let anyone know what you're up to.
Exactly, which is kind of, even like the sound, because obviously they vibrate, and the sound of it, the volume, I would say, of vibration is very important, because a lot of sex toy companies now, especially for bullets or similar toys, promote that they are very discreet with the vibration sound. However, it usually is not really true. So basically, one of the main tips to test it at home, just put it in or like play with it, put on vibration. Basically the mode that you would like to get off with, and then literally turn on the TV on, a normal volume. And if you can hear the toy together with the TV, that's not a good vibration mode, and it's loud. So probably on public, they will hear it as well, unless it's club, probably, then obviously the sounds are way louder. But yeah, if you cannot hear it, or you just like, something's like, is it fly or is it something, then it's a good go.
Exactly. Yeah, that's really good advice. So either TV or even just, I guess anything loud, like you could put the shower on and then see if you can hear it over the sound of like, gushing water or the washing machine. Well, just something that is like noisy. So that would be good advice. And with smart toys, like it's nice to do it with a partner, because, for those of you who are not aware of how smart toys work, they're normally app controlled. So it's fun with a partner because, that person can have the app on their phone and they're essentially in control of your pleasure. So they can, increase the frequency, they can increase the vibrations, change the vibration settings, and you're not aware of, what your sexual journey is going to be, because the other person is in control and you have no idea.
Spicy.
Exactly. It's really sexy. So a lot of them are like normally kind of eggs or bullets, which you kind of insert and then you go out and about. So I've actually done this with a partner where we were on the metro. Ooh. And I had this egg inside me and they were kind of just, increasing the frequency, and I was just there trying to be good with my legs like so it can be really fun, because people are kind of like, it's not super obvious, because obviously it's that one was designed for this kind of play, so it was very quiet. That was one of the unique selling points of this toy. It was really, really good for that. And anyway, like metros are pretty loud, so it's kind of fun because people kind of looking like, what is wrong with her? But there could be a bunch of reasons why I'm squirming all over the place. There might be a fly in my hair,
so
I might be hot.
So next time you see kind of slightly crazy person, that could be
exactly. I hope that pops into your mind.
They're not crazy.
I wonder if they have a sex toy inside their panties. So yeah, that's another suggestion of a way that you can use a sex toy like outside of your home.
And one more suggestion, if it's not vibrating, if it's like anal plug or a Kegel ones, Also put them in before you even go outside, but like not 20 minutes before, obviously, but like a day before, and try to spend like 20 or 30 minutes with it inside of you to see if you like it or not, if it's comfortable. Because imagine if you would like put a butt plug, for instance, and then you go to the cab or like even the public transport and you just like sit there, you just like, it's uncomfortable in it to the point where it's painful. And we are promoting very, very healthy lifestyles. So very, very healthy lifestyles kind of, have a very sensual anal. So do not hurt yourself by being stupid, because a lot of people do crazy things without even trying it before on public. And yeah, you don't want to end up in ER or something, which is not going to be cute. And yeah, I think that would be a very good test for you to try it out before you even go outside. Like try to, sit down, walk around, I don't know.
I was going to say, and move with it, because you don't just want to sit down because it might be comfortable in a particular position. And then as soon as you change or you add motion, it's different.
Yeah, like try exactly whatever what you would do outside.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of butt plugs, Miss Aya actually has a very exciting story that involves a butt plug used in public. So why don't you share for the room?
My story. Okay, so yeah, that was probably the first time where I was introduced to anal, and I was very lucky to have like one of the best experiences ever. And yeah, no one could actually top it out, and I didn't allow it to. But yeah, the fantasy was to write for the dick appointment, basically in the subway, having a butt plug with no underwear. And that was a good hour and a half journey by subway. And yeah, it was very interesting. However, it was kind of like too hot, because also China, where we were living, it was like plus 40, 50 degrees. So I think I miscalculated my outfit. However, it was very interesting. What were you wearing? A long skirt. Yeah, like Kim Kardashian kind of style. And it was just too tight. And yeah, it was just like kind of uncomfortable in terms of like, I was just like very hot and like kind of like sweating a little bit. But the whole idea, and especially like no panties, it's also like gives you the vibe. Actually, even this could like, get you off in the couple wise. It's very interesting. So yeah, you just like, there, and you just like, oh, I'm not wearing any underwear. Like
I'm gonna say naughty.
Yes, and no one knows. And it's kind of very interesting how you even mind goes through that. So oh well, yeah, and that's the end of the story. I got to
that's not the end of the story, but we're not going to tell you the rest of the story.
Well, obviously, I got to the place safe and very, very, very wet. I would say that definitely. Yep.
Nice. Both from sweat and sexual pleasure, naturally.
It depends. Yeah, like it was dripping. But anyway, that's a wrap. That's a wrap.
So there we go, guys. So hopefully after this episode, you're going to feel a bit more confident to, discuss sex toys with your partners, incorporate them into your sex lives, incorporate them into your solo sex lives, and even incorporate them into your outdoor activities.
Yeah, I am very hopeful that you guys gonna try, and those advices that were provided were very helpful. And if you don't have anyone to discuss sex toys, you can always DM us on Instagram or anywhere else, and have new friends.
Right, we'll leave our handles. We're always happy to give advice, so just feel free to DM us and chat about sex toys.
It's also free, by the way. So
yeah, don't worry, we don't charge for that.
For now. But yeah, anyways, that pretty much is a wrap. Yeah, and that was the Ghost of One podcast. Maggie and Maya,
yes. Toy Stories limited series,
yes.
Sunset edition.
Portable, but I actually love this thing so much.
Same.
Like all together, you should move.
I know, I really want to move. I might.
Put a thumbs up if you should move. Okay, that was a wrap. Thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe, follow, notification buttons. You know what to do.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.